Well, friends, I'm back to the program, second half of the one-day program in Montreal, and it's raining showers. Every time it rains, I think of the rain of blessings, how they are coming like showers upon us. These blessings that we get from these masters, these perfect living masters' blessings, they come like big showers. Of course, if in these showers you go and put a cup upside down, nothing will go into the cup. If you put the cup slightly on the side, maybe a few drops may go on, but not much. But if you keep the cup straight, it will get filled up in no time. Such is the nature of the blessings we get from these wonderful people. We call them perfect living masters. Our cup in this case is the cup of our attention. Where is our attention? If our attention is towards the grace that we are receiving, it gets filled up. But if our attention is on other things, we don't get it filled up. And that is why it's so important that on this spiritual path, we keep our attention in the right direction. The more we withdraw our attention from things that are happening outside around us and put them towards the divinity inside us, our own divinity, our own spirituality, and the spiritual blessings coming from within, from our own perfect living master. The more we put our attention that way, the more quickly it gets filled up and we feel blessed. We feel there is so much coming to us. But if we think that we can keep on with our usual things and put all our attention on outside work, with various excuses of the mind, after all, we have to live like human beings, we have problems, we have to survive, we have to eat, drink, be merry, we have to take care of our responsibilities, we have to take care of our children, families, our work. That's important. Then that cup does not get filled up. It's of course important that you do those things. But I am going to tell you a secret. The secret is, if you put your cup in the right direction within, all these things that you think are external responsibilities are taken care of so smoothly, you'll wonder how they're being taken care of. You will see miracles every day. Not miracles of something inside, miracles of your life outside. You will see how your problems will get solved, how things will happen outside. Therefore, it's not necessary that you have to take full responsibility when somebody inside you, more powerful, with greater awareness, is willing to take your responsibility. Why are you so worried? Therefore, leave the responsibility to one who is inside you and has promised to take responsibility, and see how the magic works. Whoever has tested out, and I have told my friends, several of my friends all over the world, whoever has tested out has proven to me that yes, it works. That if you depend and have faith and surrender to the master within, all things outside get taken care of by themselves. This is so important. But in trying to excuse ourselves from meditation, excuse ourselves from the spiritual path on the basis of the work we are to do outside, we deny ourselves a lot of blessings. Although the blessings are showering like the rain outside. So that is why I say that remember, the cup of attention should be towards the master within yourself. And remember, whatever we are seeing outside is created by our own consciousness. In fact, created by our own mind. A master who we see outside is a human being like all other human beings, and a product of the mind, of our own mind. Everything is a product of our mind. How can a master be different? Therefore, when we look at a master outside, we are looking at a product of our own mind. But all that we see outside is being created from inside. Everything that you see outside is also inside. You visit inside, go there, and you will see that the original of what we are seeing outside is all there, including the original of the master. Therefore, if you want to have an interaction with the real master, that master is within ourselves, not outside. But we don't know, we can't see anything inside. Therefore, the master outside, the human being just like ourselves outside, becomes so significant and so important. But once you are able to see the master inside, it does not mean that you will say the master outside is now no longer necessary. I found the original. Why should I go for the copy? Sometimes the copy is also very interesting if you have seen the original. In fact, there was a nice story I heard that once one of the kings of China had a contest, a painting contest, and he was checking if the Japanese or the Chinese are better painters on the walls. So in one of his large halls, he dedicated one wall to the Chinese and one wall to the Japanese. And he put a curtain in the middle. And he asked those artists to draw their paintings on the two walls. So while the Chinese were busy with their very intricate painting using all kinds of colors, the Japanese were busy polishing the wall. And the king would come and visit and say, when will you start your painting? They said, we will do our painting, sir. We are just polishing the place for our painting. Ultimately, the last day came and they were still polishing the wall. So when the king saw the Chinese painting, he said, that's remarkable. Then they said, Japanese, you show your painting. And they said, remove the curtain. When they removed the curtain, the king saw the reflection of the Chinese painting. He said, this is even better. So therefore, sometimes the reflection is not less interesting or less important. And therefore, once you have seen something inside, even the outside looks so much better. I remember standing with my master, the great master, Hazur Maharaj Baba Sawan Singh, once in Dalhousie, a hill station in India, and we were looking at the mountains. And I was telling him, Master, look at these beautiful mountains. And he said, well, the mountains inside are even more beautiful. I said, Master, then why are you looking at these, Master, if you have seen the inner mountains? He said, once you have seen the inner mountains, these look even more beautiful. So he was explaining that our whole understanding of experiences, whether they are inside or outside, we have come to have an experience. The whole creation has taken place because we wanted to have a variety of experiences. And these are the experiences we are having. And once you know you came for that, your whole approach changes. Today we are thinking, we are caught up in this world and we have to live our life. We are born and we die, earning our living, eating just to survive, and having so many problems and worries all the time. We totally forget that this was generated by us as a show. It was generated as a movie for us to watch. We go to see movies here and we spend money on the tickets, $7 to $10. I don't know how much they charge in Montreal, but they surely charge a lot in Chicago. And we go and see horrible things on the screen. And we say, very good, we got our money's worth. And when we see those things on the screen, we don't look back. These are only shadows. We sit on the edge of the chair. Now what's going to happen? As if something other will happen than what is already recorded in the movie, in the film. We think something can happen. And we are watching that movie so keenly, as if something living is happening on the screen. And we participate in it. We laugh with the jokes. We cry. We have tears in our eyes. Something is going on the screen, which are all shadows. And yet the shadows are so real for us. Nobody ever turns around in a movie hall to see back that there's a projector there. And the projector has a film loaded into it. And the light behind the projector is casting a shadow on the screen. Not only that, there is nothing moving on the screen. These are still pictures. They are moving fast enough in the projector, and therefore they look like moving on the screen. There's nothing moving anywhere. It is all still pictures. And if the light was shut down, there will be nothing visible. Same thing is happening here right now. We see movement. There is no movement. They are still pictures. It's the persistence of vision of the mind that creates movement. And the light of our soul, if that is shut down, the whole show will shut down. The light of our soul projects a predetermined, pre-filmed, a movie in the mind, a DVD already recorded in the mind, and it's played out. It's called life. Now imagine if you know this is what it is, you'll enjoy the movie, no matter what the ups and downs of the movie are. But there's one big difference. When you go to see a movie, you sit in a chair away from the screen, and the characters are on the screen. Therefore, you separate yourself. Here in this movie, which we call life, we are sitting in one of the characters, little realizing we are not the character, but we are sitting in one of the characters and watching the movie from inside the character, through the eyes of the character. But if we realize we are not the character, we're just sitting inside one body of a character and watch the movie, this will be exactly like the same movie you go and see in a movie hall. When you go to the third eye center and settle yourself there, that's exactly the experience you get about life. That you are not the body, you are one character in a movie that's been established. It is a multi-dimensional movie. It has got time frame, it has got space, it's got these things, but it's still a movie. And it's been filmed earlier. It's not being made now. When we see a movie and we think something is going to happen, we forget at that time that something that is going to happen has already happened. And the same thing will happen. Here, same thing we do in life. We don't know what's going to happen. Maybe we can change it. But even the idea of changing it is part of the movie, is part of the script. No, we can do something else other than this. Somebody wrote to me this morning in an email that if it is all a movie, why should I pray? The answer is prayer is part of the movie. Your choice making is part of the movie. It will be very uninteresting if the very experience of choice making goes away. That's the best part of the movie, is that we still have an experience of free will. And we are using free will to do things which have already been willed. But still the experience is free will because we can't see where the movie is, where it's been shot, where it's stored. Of course, if you do meditation and go within and go just one step above the level of your sense perceptions, one step where the mind works, where the mind alone works, where you can become unaware not only of this physical body, you can become unaware even of your sense perceptions by deeper meditation. If you can reach that point, which many people can, and with little practice you can, if you reach there, you will find the movie stored there which is being played. You will also know how you picked up that particular DVD to play it out. You will know exactly that you can change. You will know exactly what the circumstances were in which you picked up that particular DVD, which is you are calling life out here. All the answers are there. The secrets are there that are revealing to you how this whole system of creation operates. So it's exactly like that. About the determination, that's all determined. In the middle of the determination, we say, can we change something here? When we say that, that's part of the script. That we are questioning and our saying that is part of the script. And that's a beautiful part of the script, because that makes us feel we have choices, real choices. And we think they are real choices. Now, this is an old subject of free will or determination that's going on for so long. And I get so many emails and so many letters concerning this subject. If everything is predetermined, why should we do anything? Okay, your asking this question is also predetermined. And what I'm going to reply to is also predetermined. What I'm going to say to you now. The thing is that the beauty of our experience of choice making only works so long as we are totally unaware of the future. Supposing you can see what you're going to do tomorrow, free will disappear in the very moment. Supposing you can see what is going to happen in the next 5 minutes, your free will disappear. You will notice that whatever you are thinking is your choice has already been made, and you are just going strictly according to that by your thinking process. The thinking process by which you make choices goes exactly according to that script. Actually, I think I mentioned earlier, I had a very interesting experience with a gentleman in India. I had gone for an interview. I was a young guy and was looking for jobs, so I went for an interview for the Indian Navy. And after coming out of the interview from the Navy, a guy with a turban was standing there, and he was saying, good luck to you. And I asked him, why are you saying good luck? And he said, do you have a piece of paper? I said, yes. I tore out a piece of paper from my book that I had, and he looked into my eyes and began to write something on it. After a while, he folded the paper, gave it back into my hand. Then he said, do you have another paper? I said, sure. They gave another one. He said, now you write. Write a number between 1 and 10. And I thought to myself, this is an old trick. Even we as kids used to do. We would tell another kid, speak up a number quickly between 1 and 10. Most people would say 5. Because in the middle of 1 and 10. I said, this guy is expecting me to write 5. And I am going to beat his bluff, call off his bluff. I'm not going to write 5. So instead of that, I wrote 3. He said, write the name of a flower. Now the most common flower was rose. I said, he's expecting me to write rose, and I'm going to write the name of a flower he might never have heard of. So there's a flower, Indian chameli, form of jasmine, and that doesn't grow in that area where the interview was, so I wrote chameli in English letters, Chameli, in capitals. He said, write your date of birth. We are used to writing the date first, and the year, the month and the year. But I wrote only the year, 1926. He looked at it, he said, you only written the year. I said, write date of birth. So after that, I wrote the month and day. He said, now open the paper I gave you. So I opened the paper. It said 3, chameli, and 1926 followed by the date. Exactly like I wrote. I was absolutely astounded. Not because he could guess what my mind was thinking, which I knew that some people can do thought reading. He wrote that before I thought. And while I was still in a state of wonderment and being stunned, he said, shall I tell you more? I said, go ahead. He said, when I asked you to write a number between 1 and 10, you said this guy is expecting me to write 5. I am going to call off his bluff and I'll write 3. He knew exactly my thinking. And he said, when I said write the name of a flower, you said I'm going to write the name flower he may never have heard of. He repeated my thoughts, which he knew before I thought. That was one of the greatest experiences I had to make sure that what we think and what we use as thought for making decisions is also pre-written. Then when we think, let me decide something now, and I have these options, and I can pick up this option or that, the whole thing is being recorded. And because it goes through this process of making a choice, we think we have free will. If we don't know the future, it is free will. As an experience, it is free will. Somebody says, if it is not a real experience, why do you call it free will? I said, I am calling this life also real life, it's not also real either. The whole thing is a projected experience. The whole thing is a projection from consciousness. There is no difference. So how can I distinguish between one part of the projection and another? The whole thing is pre-made completely. The whole creation is pre-made and predetermined. So therefore, when we say we have free will, it is an experience of free will. We do experience free will. But that's great. The fact that we are ignorant of the future is a great blessing. With this great blessing of being ignorant of the future, we get the actual experience of free will. And because we get the experience of free will, we become choice makers. And because we can make choice, we become seekers. And because we seek, we find. And the whole pattern goes on that basis. If you seek, you will find. It's wonderful. I don't think anybody could have placed these things in such a perfect order. It's the most beautiful, perfect creation if you see its totality. It's totally imperfect if you see only part of it. That's the difference. The total grand picture is perfect. Parts of it are imperfect. When you only see one part, it's imperfect. So imperfection of anything that we view here can be overcome by seeing why it exists, how it exists, and the perfection comes up. That is the beauty of being able to go within yourself and discovering the source of all experience, discovering the source of our very being, discovering our own soul, discovering that the mind is merely a cover. It's not part of ourselves. That is just something given to us to use. The body is not us. It's something given to us to have experience. The sense perceptions are not ourselves. They are given to us to have experience. Once we find out these things personally, all questions are answered. What would be the state of life of a person? Nothing but joy and bliss. Because a created universe with a created ups and downs, they created thrills of ups and downs. People are willing to go to a ride and go through thrills of a ride. This is a thrillful ride. This is very thrilling ride that we come for the universe. We are taking it so seriously and taking it as real life. It's not that like that. Go in and find out. And we have the opportunity. It's one of the greatest opportunities we have that there are people amongst us whom we call perfect living masters. What is the difference between us and these perfect living masters? As human beings, no difference at all. They are born, they get diseases, they feed themselves, they eat, drink like us, they grow up like us, they die like us. No difference whatsoever in the physical form and life of a perfect living master and all of us. The difference lies in the awareness that they have. They are totally aware of the whole show. They're totally aware how it's being created. They're totally aware and can experience any part of it at any time. When we go on the spiritual path and have these experiences, we go stage by stage, step by step. First, we try to go to the very first initial stage where we can find this body is not ourselves. It's a big step, as I said in the morning. It's a big step to be able to know that this body is not yourself. But the next step, that sense perceptions have been created for experience, and that the mind that thinks is a projector that projects these experiences, is wonderful. You know a lot. But once you know that, you have to shut off these. You cannot have an astral experience and the physical experience both real at the same time. Because you have to shut off this reality in order to open up the next reality. If you come back to this reality, that shuts off. At one time, we have only one reality. They are not illusions. People say, this whole world is Maya, illusion. Why are we wasting our time here? I say, we never created illusion. They look like illusion to you. Would I be wasting my time speaking to you if I thought we are all illusion? It's real. Illusion was used as a process. The process of illusion was used to create reality. Besides this reality, there is no other reality. If you want to find out then what is real, every part of it that you will find will be illusion. But everything is also real. At one time, we experience one reality. While we are the physical body, with our attention outside, the physical world is real. And we are real. And that's our experience. Once we withdraw from there, the astral world becomes real. Physical world becomes a dream. And the astral world is the only reality. Once we go higher than that, to the causal stage, the mind becomes the only reality. And we know that the mind created everything, but the mind was real. And the causal plane of experience is real. Everything else is unreal. We go higher up and find our own soul at a stage which we call Par Brahm, beyond the Brahm, beyond this creation. When we reach that point, we think that's the only reality. Everything else was unreal, made up. But when we go beyond that, to totality, everything was real and everything was unreal at the same time. The only place is our own true source, the source of all experience, the totality of consciousness. That is where you have access to all realities and all illusions at the same time. At every other stage, you can have only one reality, and that is the difference between a perfect living master in a physical body and ourselves. That the perfect living master is constantly aware of all levels of creation, including totality. Not that he has to go somewhere to find totality and come back and tell us. He is operating in all systems at all times, even when he is in a physical body like us. His awareness is of all levels. We have to find one step at a time. But when we reach the same level of totality of consciousness where the whole thing is taking place, which is our true home, our Sachkhand, when we go there, we are all at the same level as a perfect living master and have the same awareness that he has. Perfect living master do not come here to make us better people. They do not come here to teach us aesthetics, to teach us ethics, to teach us how to be better to human beings. There are thousands of teachers doing that. They don't come for that at all. They come to take us back home to their own level. They say there is a philosopher's stone. If it touches iron, base metal, it turns into gold. A philosopher's stone does not act like that kind of philosopher's stone. When he touches something, he makes it like a philosopher's stone. A perfect living master, when he initiates somebody, the guarantee that he gives is, you will be identical to me in my awareness. You get the same awareness I have, there will be no difference whatsoever. These people who reach these levels of awareness, which we call gurmukhs, followers of the guru, they follow their master and they reach the same level as the master. They have identical experiences as the master. The only difference between a gurmukh who has reached that level and a perfect living master is, it is not part of their mandate, it is not part of their programming to teach others or to take others back home, whereas perfect living master taking others back home. Otherwise, the level of awareness is identical to them. And that is why these masters, they come here, they take us by a different process altogether. I mentioned to you in the morning that our job is to go up to the third eye center. And I told you how the repetition of words, the Simran, the mantra, has to be used in such a way that every part of the thought process starts repeating in chorus to make it worthwhile. Once you are able to forget your body, withdraw your attention from there, you will hear a melody, a sound, a kind of a resonance inside. And it takes many forms. It has several forms of sounds which are already there. These sounds do not come from external sources. Some sounds come from within the body, from the blood flow. If you're trying to concentrate hard, the blood flow can be seen, your breathing can be heard, some other physical sounds start off. But later on, you find that as you concentrate your attention on yourself, on your own conscious self, not on the body, not on the senses, not on your thoughts, but on your true self, the sound that emanates is coming from your own self. And that sound is a continuous sound, though changes in its nature, but the sound never stops when you are going on a journey towards a greater realization of yourself. It continues as unbroken link. All other experiences I am explaining to you are broken links. When we go to sleep and have a dream, it's a broken link. We in the dream world, we are not aware of our body at all. We wake up, the dream disappears. It's a broken link. From here we go in meditation, go to the astral stage, and we become unaware of our body. It's a broken link. We don't remember our body. But the sound that we start hearing at the third eye center while we are still in the body is a continuous, undisturbed, and continuous connected sound through every level of experience right to our true home. That is why it is recommended that if you can find that sound within yourself, which you can as soon as you are able to withdraw your attention fully, and sometimes you can hear the sound when you withdraw your attention partially, and you can then use the sound to withdraw more fully. When you can hear that sound, you can put your attention on the sound. It is much easier than putting attention on where you belong and where you are in the head. Because the sound is coming from where you are in the head. You don't have to try to locate where are you in the head, where is the pineal gland, where is the center, where is behind the eyes. If you hear that sound which has a pull, because pulling you towards itself, that is yourself. Then the sound is the reality because it connects you to the ultimate reality. So that unique sound, which is different from any other sound, because of its melody, because of its power to pull, its power to make you unconscious of your body faster than any method that you may try yourself. So when you can be pulled by that sound and you stick with that, it can take you from one level of experience to another continuously. That is how the birth came of the Surt Shabd Yoga, the yoga of the Surt being put on the Shabd, attention on the sound. The whole yoga, the system of union with your true self in Sachkhand, through the process of putting attention on the sound came from there. from the resonance of the self. Therefore, if you reach that point and use this method, it's a faster method to go home. And that is why I have tried many types of yogas in my own life. And I did it because my master himself said, find out something better than I am giving you and take it. So I took him very seriously, tried to find anything better than what he taught me. He taught me Srut Shabd Yoga. And I thought maybe other yogas may be better. So I tried everything. And ultimately I found that nothing could match that in the power to withdraw attention and take you to yourself. So the power of the sound inside to draw you inside is so strong that if you can stick with that continuously, it will open up the different levels and make your withdrawal from one body to another very quick. So that's Srut Shabd Yoga can take you up to several levels. But then the sound, the listening to the sound involves a lot of other things also. For example, in the physical body, we are used to listening to the sound with the ears. In the physical body, we are using sound to communicate, which we call language. It's a spoken, written language. We are using the spoken, written language. In our Hindi Sanskrit phrases, we call it Varanatmak sound. Varanatmak means it can be Varnan, that means it can be explained, it can be spoken, it can be written, it can be communicated. We are all using only Varanatmak sound while here. In order to move forward to the true sound, we still use Varanatmak sound. I mentioned mantra is being used. They are Varanatmak. They are words, spoken words. We use Varanatmak sound only to pull our attention to defeat the mind's thoughts, to replace the mind's thought with the Varanatmak shabd that we are using. When you get the sound, it is not spoken language at all. It's not a written language either. It's not the kind of music that you can write. It has its own resonance and pull. So then the sound becomes dhunatmak sound. Dhun means a sound that you can hear, a sound that can pull, but it is not a language that you've been speaking. But the beauty is that when you have dhunatmak sound, you discover that is the source of varanatmak sound. And this is a very interesting fact I'm going to tell you, that when you have a telepathic communication, people say, I can talk to people telepathically. What is telepathy? Telepathy is that you think of something in your head. Of course, you think in words. You think of something in your head, another person to whom you are connected can understand what you're thinking. Have you ever noticed that if you think in English and the other person does not know English, only German, that person will understand it in German? Did you know that telepathy does not involve varanatmak sound? It involves dhunatmak sound. Dhunatmak sound carries the meanings of all languages. And this is a great experience you can have when you are at the center of this astral plane. That means when you become unaware of the physical body, that the dhunatmak sound becomes your means of communication with everybody. All souls with astral bodies that you encounter, which is a much vaster creation than even this physical creation that you encounter at that point. People you think have died in the physical bodies are alive there. There's so many friends who've been living long ago are still living there. When you have those experiences of meeting those people, you can speak any language or not speak a language. Just have a thought and they understand no matter what language they know. And this telepathy is coming really from there. People who have telepathic experiences are not getting it from physical communication at all. They're getting it from astral communication. So there the normal method of communication is telepathic. The dhunatmak sound takes you there. But after that, the spoken word has no value. And we think that this mantra is going to take us all over. No. It's a different kind of sound after dhunatmak sound. Then after that, you go into the causal plane, and the dhunatmak sound, which we can hear from beginning and end it when we like, becomes endless. It is anhad sound, anhad shabd, anhad. The anhad shabd or the anhad sound it has no beginning and no middle and no end. It's continuous. People in yoga that I also tried to imitate the anhad shabd by thinking it can be repeated with the tongue. How can you repeat with the tongue? How can you repeat with your mouth something that is continuous, with no beginning, no middle and no end? That's only possible where time itself is being created into infinity, which is the causal plane. In the causal plane, when you reach there, you find that you get into that zone, which is different from the zone of the astral plane because it is timeless. It's eternity. People in the temples, in the yoga center that I went, said, you can do that Anhad Shabd. I said, how do we do that? He said, well, the word Om comes from there. I said, Om starts with O and M is M, no matter what language you write. It's very limited. How can Om be an infinite, unending sound? They said, no, don't say Om like that. Say it differently. I said, okay, then they trained me how to create an indefinite, no beginning, no middle, no end, indefinite Om from my mouth. They started by humming slightly. And so on. Even that has a beginning and an end. But we try to imitate as if there's a sound that we can immediately know it's a no beginning because we understand the nature of time at that place. So the Anhad Shabd pulls us in a different way. But then this Shabd that is beyond that is beyond space and time, and you can't even call it a sound. Yet we are calling it a sound because connected with these sounds. That resonance that pulls us beyond time and space, we call the Sar Shabd. The Sar Shabd is something that it has its own personality. Like it's a friend saying, come on, I'll take you up. Like lift you up. It's that kind of a experience. It's very different from any sounds. Yet because it's connected continuously, we have not moved from one to the other, but it's just transformed from one to the other. We call it the Sar Shabd, and we move through a stage where we discover our soul with no mind, no senses, no body, and discover all these covers were created from consciousness of the soul, and they are just covers upon it for differential and different experiences. What a remarkable experience to discover your own true self. We say, know thyself. That's a secret. If you have known yourself, you will know totality pretty quickly. Because when you know yourself, that you are a unit of consciousness, you will then want to find out what is your totality. Now that part is very difficult for anybody when I say this individuated self to go. No individuated part can discover the total. The total must discover the part. Therefore, one who is perfect already in totality of consciousness can alone pull us through that stage of Par Brahm, of the state of individuated consciousness into totality of consciousness. And that stage where we go to the top, we call that part a Sat Shabd, the true sound. It's not a sound, but we call it a sound all the way through. So when you practice Surt Shabd Yoga, you'll find that the nature of the sound changes at every stage. And the spoken sound has a limited use, and the other kinds of experiences you have, which are pulling you, take you to the highest level of awareness and consciousness. So this is a great method to practice. But if the sound itself has changed, what can pull you above the mind? It must be something that is existing on the other side to pull you. From here, we can push ourselves. When we try to meditate, we are pushing ourselves. When we try to do repetition of words and repeat mantras, we are pushing ourselves. When we start listening to the sound, we are being pulled. I compare this with our two types of cars we sell, the rear wheel drive and the front wheel drive. The rear wheel drive engine pushes the car, and the front wheel drive pulls the car. So all our meditational efforts here are pushing the car. But when the inner sound pulls us, it is pulling the car. It's pulling ourselves. The ultimate stage of pull beyond the mind cannot take place unless it is pulled by a force beyond the mind. Now, when we look at the forces beyond the mind, there are only three, which at least we can explain as three. The power of love, the power of intuitive knowledge, and the power of the blissful state. These are the three that can pull us. Therefore, something has to pull us. Now that is where the role of the perfect living master comes in, who is a human being just like us, amongst us, but with the awareness from where he can pull us up. How does he pull us up? Not by giving us talks and speeches, not by explaining teachings, not by explaining the methods of doing things, but by pure love, by unconditional love, a love that pulls our soul and not our mind. Our mind questions what is happening to us, and something is happening to us which we can't even explain. It's the love coming from the other side of our mind, beyond the mind, and that love pulls us. So perfect living masters, when they come here, they become teachers for the sake of our minds. We like to be taught. They try to teach us things, they try to give you methods. There is no method that they are going to use. Their method is to draw you from the power of love and put into you the intuitive knowledge, which automatically you get answers to your questions, and the love pulls you, and that's the way to go to the top. To go to totality of consciousness, no other method works except love and devotion. And that is why I could summarize our whole spiritual journey, that the spiritual journey is dependent upon love and devotion. If you have no love and devotion, you can meditate forever and not go beyond the mind. Because all efforts is mental. You can go to the top of the mind with all your efforts. But if you have to be pulled beyond the mind to your true self and to your true home, totality of consciousness, it can only be with an unconditional love that can pull you there. And such a love comes from a human being who, when he is in contact with us, when he is a friend of ours here in the physical world, he is pulling with that power of love, unconditional love, which we can't even explain fully. When we try to understand it with our mind, we ourselves fail. We can't understand it even. But our soul understands, because we're still being pulled. The mind says, I will not go and see that man again, but I come up again. I don't know why. What is this? I don't believe that man. He's just making up stories, but I still want to go and see him. What's going on? The power of this unconditional love. It is so unconditional. If you have experience with a perfect living master, you will find his love is so unconditional. He will love you whether you love him or not. If you love him, he will love you. If you don't love him, he'll love you. If you hate him, he will love you. If you kill him, he will love you. That's the nature of that unconditional love of a perfect living master. There's no condition attached at all to that love. And I tell you, this is one of the greatest experiences one can have by associating with a perfect living master. That power of love, which is so unconditional. No judgment is involved in that. A master of that order never says, be a good boy, then I will help you. Follow these rules, then I will help you. Nothing, no condition is imposed on his love for us. Why does he then, how does he judge who to take and who not to take? How is the selection made if it is so unconditional? There is no judgment involved at all. It is based upon a process which we ourselves set up. Before we ever came into this universe, before we ever made up this world, before we ever left our totality, before we ever became souls, we made a good arrangement for ourselves. We made an arrangement that we'll go into all these experiences, make them as real as possible, so we enjoy them. But there was a danger. If we make these experiences so real, we'll take them as reality and get caught up there forever. So we ourselves made an arrangement that when we are fed up of the show we are watching, when we are fed up of life as we are living in any level, then we should have an arrangement by which we ourselves should be able to go back. Our own self will appear in the form of another being with the awareness which actually belongs to us. And we will call it a perfect living master, and he will give us that perfect living master's love, unconditional love, and take us back home. We made this arrangement ourselves in order not to get caught here forever. Now, who are these souls that made this arrangement? The soul that made these arrangements and are getting fed up of this experience from time to time, we call them the marked souls. And these masters, they come specifically for those souls who made arrangements to go back at that time. And therefore, they have come specifically for those souls. They have not made a judgment in picking them up. It is the soul that has decided Soul that has decided, now it's my time to go, and they appear. You don't search for them. Nobody can find them. They are so ordinary. They're just like us. How can you find them? If somebody says, I can find a master, I know how to find one, I think he's a master himself. Only a master can find a master. We don't have any idea how to find them. But they can find us if we are marked souls of their list and they come to take us back because we made that arrangement. Then we are marked in their list and they take us home. So these people, whom we call perfect living masters, they come to pick up marked souls, marked for their time, marked for their own particular individual stage of experience in these worlds that we have created. So the marked souls, they get in contact. In India they say, when a chela is ready, a guru appears. When a disciple is ready, a master appears. That's what they say. They don't say, when a chela is ready, he will find a master. When a disciple is ready, he can find a master. No. They say, when a disciple is ready to go back home, a master will appear in his life. And that is how they appear. They appear by coincidences, by circumstances, by strange coincidences, which themselves sometimes affect us. How come this was the exact time that we were thinking of this, and this has happened? These coincidences are not accidents. They are designed. They are well built in advance. And the coincidences bring those masters into our life at the right time. And therefore, we are ready. They initiate us. They tell us, because of our mind, do this, and you come up to that point, we start our journey from there. And what is that point? Third eye center behind the eyes. We draw your attention from here, we'll be waiting for you, and we'll go together and have a good time all the way and reach home together. That's the promise they give us. So, but there are many others who also come in contact with such beings. What about the unmarked souls? What about those who are not marked but happen to be in touch with these masters, because the masters have to roam around. In a creation, there are so many souls, so many bodies around. The unmarked souls, when they come in contact, they get marked for a future time. Though they don't lose, they get marked, and later on, another master appears, either in this life or a later life, and takes them back home. This is an arrangement we ourselves made, and worked very, very beautifully, still working. So therefore, never worry about finding a master. People worry about it. They tell me, we're looking for a perfect master. How can we find one? If I give them an honest answer, they don't like it. I say, you can't. That's the honest answer. You can't find. Then what do? Be ready. Just get ready. Get ready inside. Look at your life. Are you still enjoying it? Are you happy? Go ahead, enjoy more. Time is not yet. If you're saying, no, I've had enough, I feel it's time to go home. My inside is telling me, I want to go back to my true home. I'm done with this. Then you are ready. That's simple. If you're ready, a master will appear in your life. But it's quite possible that you may have several masters coming into your life. Why does that happen? It happens the same way like we get educated in schools, and we get into an elementary school, we get teachers who are not the same qualification as when we go to university or college, and their teachers are more qualified. If a young kid says, oh, I want to go, my eldest cousin was going to college and he had a PhD doctor and a PhD professor teaching, I want to go to that college. No, you have to first go to school, and then you go there. A similar pattern exists here, where we are on a different kind of approach, different kind of learning, different kind of teaching, different kind of experiences, that we may need an experience only up to a certain part. Our aim itself is not higher than that. Our aim is to find the truth, and somebody is saying, go and have a bath in that river, go and have worship that statue outside, worship the tree outside, worship these birds outside. Nature is everything. Go into nature and find the truth. Well, don't do it. That's your stage. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but that's your stage. You are showing you are seeking, but you're not ready for going within to your true home. So you go through that phase. Then somebody comes and says, no, you have to go within, leave the body and fly inside. That's great. And a master comes into your life who teaches you how to withdraw your attention, fly inside. He says, that is our Sachkhand, that's our true home. That's all you expected. And that's all the guy who's teaching you expects. That's all he has experienced himself. Therefore, he's still a master. He's still your master. He still took you to the point where he can take you. But he's not a perfect living master because that's the end of his journey and end of your journey with him. But supposing your seeking is beyond that. After reaching that, you say, I want more. I expected more. You will find another master who will take you higher and more. We get several masters. Our scriptures say that there are at least 4 masters in our life. The first one is our mother, who gives birth to us and takes care of us, teaches us the basic things of our life. Then comes, they ignore the fathers, I guess, in that list. I'm sorry about that. But the next is the school teacher. And then there is the church or the religious teacher. Then comes the spiritual teacher. There's mentioned four masters, 4 teachers, 4 gurus they talk of. So here we're talking that even as a spiritual teacher, there's several levels. We know the levels. We know there's a physical level in which we are living, and we can vacate this body, become unaware, and go to an astral level where we can fly. We have no gravity. We have totally different experiences. We can stop time. We can have an experience forever. It's not time like here. There's so many features of that experience which look like reality. It's like waking up to a reality. And masters can take us there. There's a master who can take us to the source of creation of karma, creation of all this. And they are also masters of the level of Brahma, level of the mind, causal plane. Then there are very rare masters. Because we are all going through these stages of development, spiritual development. Rare masters, who will then fall into the category of perfect living masters who take us beyond the mind. And that we call them separate as a category because they will use their power of unconditional love to take us. Then beyond them there are masters who will take us to our truest home, to our true home, totality of consciousness, where there is no difference between you and the master. There is no difference between anybody. We are all the same. We are all one source. So those are truly perfect living masters. The ones who take us to our own soul, beyond the mind, we have called them Sadgurus in the text. And those who have taken us to the top, we call Satgurus. But both are categorized as perfect living masters. They've both taken us out of the domain of the mind in which we are living now. So these are some of the things that I have been thinking of sharing with you, because sometimes we don't understand these, sometimes we put everything together, they are all the same. They are not all the same. But then I also want you to divest yourself of any worries about this subject. Just seek insight. Seek more. And it will come to you outside in the form of a perfect living master or the master of the level at which you are seeking and take you up to that point. And if you want to seek the total, your own true home, totality, that will also happen when you have gone to the stages that are necessary in the beginning, and ultimately a perfect living master will take you back home. I'm very glad I came to share these things with you. And if you have any questions, I don't know if you have any written questions. If you have written questions, then I will try to answer a few of them. And would you like to meditate also? Because I normally don't like just to talk. We should walk the talk also. Now, David had to translate one question from English to French, and I spoke so long with you in the morning and now, and never translated anything into French. So many of you may not have understood anything I said. Where sometimes we don't even understand when we know the language. Anyway, the question number 1. Question number 1, why we are said not to discuss spiritual things with others, what we are seeing inside. The reason is simple, that when we are trying to find our own self, one of the things that comes in the way is our own ego. Ego is the face of our mind. Ego is what says, I know it, I know better, I can do this. This ego, I, becomes very strong when you say, I want to share something with somebody else. If you digest what you're getting first, then if you have so much that is surplus and overflows, share. But if you have a few drops in your cup and you want to share them, your ego says, I have this much, then you share the drops, you are empty again. So that is why it is recommended that when you get some little experiences, digest them, make them the basis of future experiences. When you have plenty, sure you can share. But don't start sharing a little experience that you have. And that is why, as a novice in the beginning, we tell people, don't share your experiences, build on them, hold them, digest them. Because when you hold them, your ego remains in check. And when you are pulled by love, that's the best way to hold your ego in check. And this is one of the simple methods by which we say, hold on something to yourself. And the mind says, tell. And you say, no, I don't tell. Mind says, tell. Then comes the question of, what are you developing? Mental will or spiritual will? There are two wills operating in us. People sometimes call it God's will, or we live in God's will, we live in the will of the universe, or some other words. But actually it is either a mental will, which arises from your thought, from the ego. And there is a spiritual will which defeats that and depends upon your intuitive knowledge, depends on your intuition, and depends upon what is digested inside. That is what we call the intuitive will, which is spiritual will. When you live in spiritual will, you go by circumstances and coincidences and not with the thoughts that your mind makes. So that's a separate subject. I could sometimes come and talk to you about development of the spiritual will. The easiest way is when the mental will tries to say something to you, I want to do it. At least once a day, twice a day, say no. And your spiritual will develop. But if you go with the mind all the time, that the mind says do this, then it's only mental will that's developing. But if you defeat the mental will, your spiritual will develop. And when that is developed, you will automatically know that you have to digest this great experience inside, so more experience comes and not flows out just because your ego wants to share. So that's why this recommendation is made. When your cup is full, automatically it will overflow and other people will hear from you. The second question is, who can tell us clearly if we are making progress inside or still at some level? We ourselves. We ourselves find out whether we are making progress or we have stuck somewhere. My recommendation is, if you feel you are stuck somewhere, you must go to your master and say, I'm stuck, and not spend all your life waiting to be stuck and saying one day it will work. It doesn't work like that. There are so many obstacles that come in our way, and whenever an obstacle comes which makes you stuck, you have to get over it. You automatically know you are making no progress. Now, when you want to know if you are making progress, there are two ways to judge it. One, you can have more internal spectacular experiences. You can have more experiences of getting answers inside without any spectacles, without any visions, but the answers come automatically. You begin to understand things automatically. Or there can be external experiences like miracles happening outside, that you see miracles happening in outside life which never happened before. And that's also a sign of progress. Another sign of progress is that some parts of our mental nature, such as anger, possessiveness, hatred, these start disappearing. If you find that you don't get angry like you used to get angry, you're making progress. If you find that you're not so greedy and possessive as you used to be, you're making progress. When you find that your ego is not at that level, you're willing to listen to others better than you did, you're making progress. So you have both external and internal means of judging if you're making progress or not. When you make progress, all these things keep on changing, and there's a measure by which you can do it. And when in doubt, consult your master. At one time, we used to have difficulty consulting a physical form of the master till we could get the radiant form inside. When you have a radiant form, you have instant communication with the master. Anytime you can ask. When you don't have it, you have to have an external means. We had very hard times to get answers to our questions. Mail was slow. But now there's email and electronic media. That comes faster sometimes than our questions. So that is why now you can use that new sophisticated methods of contacting and getting answers to your questions, but don't remain stuck at one point. Imagine, I remember the old days when my master's master, that means Baba Sawan Singh's master, Baba Jamal Singh, when he was following a master who lived about 300 miles away. He was in Punjab and the master was in Uttar Pradesh, in UP, in Agra. Swamiji was his master, Swami Seth Shiv Dayal Singh, and he was following him from a distance. When he had a question, he had to write a letter. One day, he wrote a letter, true story, told by him to, of course, it's a second hand to the extent that I was not there, but it was told by Baba Jamal Singh to Sawan Singh, my master, and he told me. So to that extent, I think it's quite valid. That Baba Jamal Singh wrote a letter to his master, saying, Master, I am missing you. I love you so much, but I can't help it. I don't know. Day and night I think of you. I am missing you. I want to have your darshan. I want to come and see you. Tell me, when can I come and see you? A letter. In those days, it was snail mail, like a snail actually, because it takes a month to write a letter and receive a reply. The letter went to Swamiji. After 1 month, a reply comes and says, My beloved son, Jamal Singh, I am very happy to receive your letter and to know that your soul is roaming around in the Khand Brahmand in the higher regions. Looking at the reply, Jamal Singh says, This is not for me. My soul is going nowhere. And this must be mistakenly sent to me, must be meant for somebody else. He might have dictated it for somebody else, and I got this letter. So he wrote again. He said, Beloved master, I got your letter, but you say my soul is roaming around in higher regions. My soul is going nowhere. All I wrote was, I'm missing you so much that I want to have your darshan. Please give me time so I can come and see you. After a month, another reply comes. I'm showing you this slow pace of communication those days. Another month he waited, and a letter comes from his master, from Swamiji, saying, My beloved son, I've got your second letter. I am very happy to know that your soul is roaming around in higher regions. And so far as coming to see me is concerned, come in the first week of next month. So armed with these two letters, he goes to Agra and meets his master, Swamiji, and he says, Master, here are two letters you wrote to me. They don't apply to me. I was having no such experience of soul roaming around anywhere. My soul was going nowhere. I was right there. And you wrote this to me. And Swamiji was sitting with about 8 or 10 of his disciples. He said, Jamal Singh, let's go inside for half an hour. So they both went inside, maybe for a meditation session. The others waited outside. And they both came out after about half an hour. And there in the presence of the others, he says, Jamal Singh, now tell me, when I wrote that letter to you, was your soul going in higher regions? He said, Yes, Master, it was. He said, I am not asking you if your soul went into higher regions now during our meditation. I am saying, did you see during this meditation that when I wrote the letters to you, at that time your soul was going in higher regions? He said, Yes, Master, my soul was going in higher regions at the time when you wrote those letters. Then addressing the other people sitting there, Swamiji said, it is not always necessary to have visual experiences of insight. When the soul is roaming around, masters often block your eyes, inner eyes, from seeing anything. But you feel it, and the feeling is expressed by missing the love of your master so much that you want to go and have his darshan anytime, want to just go and meet him. Where was that feeling coming from? That feeling was coming from the progress he was making spiritually inside. But why was the vision blocked then? So the question was asked by somebody else. Why do you block the vision? If he was at that time going, he should have gone and enjoyed his visits to the higher regions. He said, the masters block the vision because they know that we are here as part of a karmic pattern. We brought a destiny, a pralabdha with us. a destiny in which there are responsibilities cast upon us to do various things, taking this world as real. And if we discover that this is not real, we may have difficulty doing those duties and responsibilities here. So although progress is being made, the eyes are being blocked from inside so that this work can be done outside, and yet the feeling of love and devotion and missing the master continues to grow. So he explained why these things are sometimes necessary when we have a responsibility to do things here according to our karma, according to our prarabdha. Which is the truth, that you cannot always judge your progress only from what visual experiences you have. There are so many other experiences that we have which are showing progress. And those experiences, sometimes the mind can question, how is it happening? But when the experience overrides the mind, when your intuitive self overrides your mind, then you know that's a true experience. So that is why, if you are stuck somewhere, do not get stuck. Must move forward. But remember, moving forward does not always mean a visual experience. It can be experienced in any direction that I just mentioned to you earlier. And certainly, you would begin to feel a love and devotion of an order that you haven't felt before. And that's the sign of making progress, and that is not getting stuck. I love you too, sure. Certainly. No doubt. Okay. The secret door is inside our eyes, behind the eyes. When we go inside, secret door will open. How to channelize energy for meditation? Now I want to mention something about energy. What is energy? We call everything energy. There's a big difference between awareness and energy. Energy operates in the human body from 6 centers of energy that lie below the eyes and up to the eyes, up to the external eyes. They lie below. They're all centers of energy, the 6 centers of energy. All kinds of energy emanates from them, causes a closed circuit around us, and is used to maintain the body and maintain our contact with the world. And everything we do is based upon the energy that are being generated by these. And there are different functions of these different levels of energy. Of course, I could talk to you for an hour on 6 chakras below, because I have experienced those energies through energetic experiences, yoga of the energetic experiences. And the heart center is one of those centers which we use as a center of energy, and that is more central in the 6 and comes right in the center. But they all operate in different way. They end with the physical eyes. And they are represented in our literature and as the functional parts of the body by forms of lotuses. That we start from the bottom with the rectum, and that's a 4-petal lotus. Then we go to the reproductive organs, a 6-petal lotus. Then we go to 8, 12, 15, 16, and come to the eyes, which are 2-petal lotus. When yogis practice that, they start from 2-petal lotus. They always are awake to start with. They don't start their meditation in sleep. So when they are awake, they are starting from 2-petal lotus. They draw their attention down to the bottom, go to 4, and then they progressively come up back to the eyes, to the 2. That's the circuit of the energy centers and the practice of meditation of the energy centers. The entire energy centers are at the eyes and below. There is no energy above that. The entire experience of awareness is above the eyes. That's a big dividing line. The eyes are a very big dividing line. Below that, energy works. Above that, awareness works. The awareness that we talk of starts from there, but also starts from the same eyes. It starts in a wakeful state from the 2 eyes, goes back in the 4-petal lotus, which is between the center, and then goes on to the center where you see the actual meeting point, which we were talking about as the center of the... We don't reach the center straight away. When we try to put ourselves in, it takes time to go, and each one creates many experiences on the way. We see lights, we see colors, we see people, we see old things, and we see futures. We can see many things as we are moving to the center. So those are different petal lotuses that go back. And then in the center, they start raising. And there's a whole set of 6 centers going in and 6 centers above. Actually, my master, I'm telling you a true story now, my master, Baba Sawan Singh, once decided to accept the invitation of my uncle, who was in Karachi, working in the meteorological department, and his house was on the sea, a beautiful house on Clifton Beach in Karachi, beautiful place. And he invited Master, come and spend a few days with me, and you can relax. You are so busy and working in the Dera, come and spend time. Now that uncle of mine and my auntie there, they used to go to a yogi, Swami Brahmanandji. And Swami Brahmanandji was a very beautiful guy, little dark-skinned, beautiful eyes, and he wore a turban, and he wore orange-colored, saffron-colored clothes, and he used to have a muffler kind of around his neck. He used to hold with his hands, and with great pomp and show, he would walk with that, holding that. I remember him very well. So, but he was a beautiful guy. And he not only taught yoga of the energy centers, he also gave Ayurvedic medicines. That Ayurveda was part of his role. And my uncle and aunt used to go to that Swamiji for getting the medicines, for the Ayurvedic medicines. But they liked him a lot. When they found Great Master accepted their invitation to go to Karachi, they went to Swami Brahmanand and said, our master is coming from Punjab. We would like you to come and have his darshan. And Swamiji said, just bring him to me, I will bless him. That's not what they were expected to hear. So they said, we thought the Swami will get the blessing, but here Swami wants to bless our master. Now how do we handle it? So they decided to have a lunch party, a lunch in their house, and have a love seat with 2 seats on it, a little sofa, and they will make the 2 sit together and see what happens. The master, Great Master, was staying in their house, and that for lunch, Swami Brahmanand came, and they seated the Swami, and Great Master was in the bedroom. Then they called the master. He came and sat next to the Swami, and my uncle said, Master, this is Swami Brahmanand we have been talking to you about, from whom we get the Ayurvedic medicines, and he teaches yoga. And Great Master folded his hands and bowed like this, and Swami raised his hand, and I bless you. I was one of the witnesses to this scene. I was there. And Swami Brahmanand blessed Great Master. And Great Master said, thank you. So while they were sitting there, Great Master says, Brahmanandji, isn't it a pity that so many yogis practicing different kinds of yoga are confined to the 6 energy centers below the eyes? Isn't it so sad that they have no knowledge about the remaining 12 chakras? The 18 chakras are not known to these people. Swami looked very blank. He said, Master, I have only heard of these 6 chakras. I have never heard these 18 chakras. What are you talking about? Where are these 18 chakras? He says, have you not heard that these 6 chakras are all chakras of Pind, of the physical system? Then there are chakras of the And and Brahman system. Then the chakra of Sachkhand system. There are 3 sets of 6 chakras each. And to go to your true home, you have to go to the 18th chakra. He said, Master, I've never heard this before. Will you explain to me in more detail and elaborate on this 18 chakra thing that you're talking about? Because I never heard of it. Great Master said, it's a very big subject. And I don't know if we have time before this lunch to talk about it. But if you came to the Dera, where I work, I'll certainly explain these 18 chakras to you fully. He said, thank you, Master. But he was caught with that 18 chakra thing so much. He couldn't sleep at night. He told my uncle, I am going to go to the Dera and meet this guy and learn about the 18 chakra that he talked about. So he wound up his ashram there. He told his disciples, I am going to see that man who talks of 18 chakras. I only knew 6. And he talks of these other 12 chakras inside. I have never heard of them. So I want to learn about them. So I'm winding up my ashram. If you want to come, you can also come, but I am going. So he closed his shop and he came to the Dera. In the Dera, Master ordered that Swamiji has arrived. He should be housed in the best guest house we have, given VIP treatment. And he should be taken good care of. Provide good food to him, good lodging, all seva should be done to take care of him. And when I give a discourse, he should sit next to me. And he has a right to come and see me any time of the 24 hours of the day or night he can see me. All this was conveyed to the Swami Brahmanand. He was very happy. He stayed in the best guest house in the Dera, was taken care of by the Sevadars there. And to test out if the master really meant he can go and see him any time, he decided to go at midnight and went and knocked on the door. And the Sevadars knew the master was sleeping, but they had given instructions, if Swamiji comes, wake me up. So Swamiji went and master was woken up. And master said, yes, Swamiji, what can I do for you? He just came to have your darshan. So I'm very happy to see you. Okay, thank you. So he said, this is real. I am really a VVIP here. I have some privileges nobody else has. Then master gave a discourse next day and Swamiji sat next to him. And master said, look at these yogis and yogeshwars, all caught up in the energy centers, not being aware of what the awareness is, not knowing what the higher self is. They are thinking that the energy of the physical body is everything, just because you can do some unusual things with it. And Brahmananda was looking at him like this. After the discourse, he said, Master, I have a little problem. Master said, what is your problem, Swamiji? He said, my problem is when you talk, I have to turn my head and look at you, and I've got a pain in my neck. Master said, I also noticed that. I think we'll put a chair for you in front now. So from the stage, he was moved down to a chair in front. But there was a high stage, you see, where the master would sit. After a few days of listening to discourses, he complained again. He said, Master, I have a problem. He says, Swamiji, what is your problem now? He says, when you give a discourse, I am sitting right at the bottom. I have to keep my head right up like this. And I've got a pain in my neck. And great master says, I also noticed that. Move his chair 20 feet behind. And so his chair went right to the back. After a few days, he again complained. He said, Master, I have a little problem. He says, what is the problem now? He says, Master, you've given me a chair. People sitting behind me can't have your darshan. He said, I also noticed that. Remove the chair. Now, since he was doing Ayurvedic medicine, and Master gave him a small little place for a clinic, and I was doing some homeopathic things at that time, and I had also a small clinic, so we both had clinics next to each other. So sometime we would sit together and compare notes. One day I was sitting with Swami Brahmanand, and he was telling me, your master is a great diplomat. See how he treated me when I came, made me a VVIP. And then I could see him anytime. Now I have to stand in line with everybody else just to have his darshan. And I could sit with him. Now I long just to have a look at him. See what he has done to me. And he deprived me of all the privileges he gave, but he has trapped me with his love, and I can't go anywhere now. It is the love that has trapped me. I said, that is the method of these masters. That's exactly what they do. So this Swami Brahmanand then learnt about how these centers that we're talking of are energy centers, and the spiritual centers which we talk of are not below the eyes. They are behind and above the eyes. And the practice of withdrawing your attention behind the eyes is to retain your level of wakeful consciousness and go higher, not go into sleep and get experiences. Because dream experiences are less real even than these physical experiences, and they cannot match anything like a higher experience. So that is why they say that do not go below the eyes. When you do meditation, you will notice, if you are newcomers to meditation, you will notice that the tendency to sleep increases a lot. One day, I was doing a meditation workshop many years ago, I remember in Wisconsin. And I must have been tired that day because while I was trying to tell people to meditate, and they were meditating, I suddenly heard I was snoring. And I opened my eyes, everybody was staring at me. And I myself fell asleep trying to tell them how to meditate. But then I twisted it around to say that I am just an example of what happens in meditation. But the tendency to sleep is natural to us because this yogic exercise we all do every night. We all take our attention from the wakeful state to the dream state, which is created by the throat center. Whenever we have a dream in our sleeps, our attention is there. Right now, if you say, where are you? Say, where are your eyes? You can easily take your hands up and touch your eyes, even if the eyes are closed. You know where the eyes are. Supposing you are sleeping and dreaming and want to touch the eyes of this physical body, you will touch the throat and think you are touching the eyes. Not only that, you can even test out yourself. When you are half asleep, you're feeling sleepy at night before sleeping, and close your eyes and say, I want to touch my eyes, I'm very sleepy now. You touch your nose and feel you're touching your eyes. This descent of the notional point of where our attention is flowing from keeps on moving in the body. And therefore it moves both down and moves within. And yogis practice it to take it down. We automatically do it every night. In order to give relief to the physical wakeful state, we go into dream states, we go to different states. But those dream states cannot compare with the experience of an astral self or the astral level. And that is why we don't go to sleep. That is why when I say that make this chamber of meditation behind the eyes, I also recommend make it a very firm floor that you don't go down. Some of you would feel that when you meditate, you try to sink because the tendency to sleep is very strong every time we do it. So meditation and going to sleep are so connected that to keep awake and be more awake than you are awake now, it requires that you strengthen the basic base of this meditation chamber behind the eyes. And once you make it strong, thump on it. When I do meditation exercises for a long period, I advise all these things. I don't know if any of you are coming in September to a meditation workshop that is taking place in Wisconsin, but if any of you are coming, we'll go into very great details about these things. I want that you take actual advantage of this great opportunity to find the truth through meditation. And of course, if you are a marked sheep, then I can also, with a tongue in cheek, tell you that you are going back home, no matter what you do or don't do. People don't like to hear that. They do want to hear that if the master is going to pull you, he's going to pull you with his love anyway. But it is. When you feel love and devotion for master, it's done. But since that doesn't come easy, the experience doesn't come easy, we go through a process that the mind likes. Struggle, work hard, meditate, do all those things. That's why we do them. Ultimately, it is only the love, unconditional love, through our experience of love and devotion and missing the master, that will take us back home. So meditation has many stages. And these stages, we are trying to hold our attention at a wakeful state or a higher than wakeful state, requires that we don't drop our attention below the eyes. Otherwise, we go into a state of energetic experiences and not an experience of awareness or spirituality. So we don't channelize energy for the sake of spiritual experiences. We concentrate our attention. We put our attention and concentrate by continuously focusing on that, thinking of that only, that we are there in the center. So when you want to learn more about meditation, you can join me. I will certainly work with you. If you want to do meditation while sleeping, you can have some good experiences, but they will not be experiences of higher awareness. There will be experiences which may generate love for the master, which also is good. So people, when they want to meditate and go to sleep with meditation, they continuously meditate in the sleep also. Especially if you are repeating mantra or simran, and you repeat at night before going to sleep, it continues to the night and can lead to dream sequences which are very vivid. Some can be very lucid dreams. You can get dreams of different levels. And those dreams can help you to develop your love and devotion and make progress on the spiritual path. But my recommendation would be, if you want to really experiment like a scientist, what this is all about, then do it in a wakeful state. Start from a wakeful state, hold on to the wakeful state, become unaware of the body in the wakeful state, go to a higher level of wakefulness, where you can start recalling something that happened before the body was born. When those things start happening, then you are automatically awakening more and more. And the process of higher awareness is like awakening to higher levels of consciousness. So that would be my answer. Well, I have given long answers to these few questions. I'll reserve the time for other times. Some people might be coming to Toronto also. If any questions are left, those who are coming to Toronto can carry the questions there, and you can put the questions over there again. I would like you to join me in a short meditation. In this meditation, we are doing nothing but the basic thing. The basic thing is how to figure out where to do meditation. That's it. Just to tell you where the place of meditation is going to be. It's not outside. It's not on our chairs. It's not on the ground. It's not in the physical world. It's in the physical body, inside us. And when we close our eyes, we have to assume, for this moment at least, that this is not us, this is just a house in which we live. And we have a 6th floor, wonderful room right up on the top of this house, which starts, the base is behind the eyes, and the top of the roof is on the head of ours. The ears that we have are on either side of this room. There's a strange structure, like the head. There are ears on the side, there's the top of the head, there's the roof, and there is the floor at the eye level, and we are not going to go below, although we can look down and say, there is my throat level, there is my heart level, there are others, but I'm not going down. I'm going to stay at the eye level. And in the eye level, sit in the center. That means between the ears and behind the eyes. In the central point behind the eyes, where the two eyes will meet if you make an angle. And that should be between that one single point, between the ears, behind the eyes, and just go and sit there on a chair, on a cushion, on the ground, whichever way you like, and stay there. And don't think of anything else except what is around there. Don't think of anything else. Just go and figure out that you are there. Close your eyes and begin. Open your eyes. Welcome back. You will notice that when I do these exercises, I will often be seen rubbing the eyes and the hands, because when you do deeper meditation, to get quickly back into body awareness, these help. That's why I just demonstrate that. How many of you were able to find that place and sit there? Raise your hands. It's pretty good. How many of you were thinking of other things, even when I said don't think of anything else? Most of us, I guess. That is where the use of mantra comes in. It's an aid to not thinking of other things. How many of you have a mantra or a simran that you can repeat? How many of you don't have it? For those who don't have it, they can coin a temporary one for today. Coin a short phrase of a few words expressing your love for the beloved. Just a short phrase in any language, English, French, or any other language, expressing your love for the beloved, and keep on repeating it slowly. Now remember, as I said in the morning, mantra should be used for listening and not merely repeating. Because when you listen, you won't think of other things. When you repeat, you will think of other things. So now, let's do it again. Go back to the third eye center behind the eyes, settle down there, and slowly repeat the mantra, listening to every syllable of it very intently. Start again. Close your eyes. How many of you could hear sounds while you were doing this? Oh, pretty good. Yes. The next step would be to do more with love and devotion and many other small features which when you do meditation on a regular basis, we go through that Especially if you're coming to a meditation workshop, we'll do those so that you can understand the full scope of how you can make continuous progress on a daily basis. I'm doing just a few minutes with you each. A little longer stretch would make you feel different. How many of you enjoyed this? Oh, I'm happy you enjoyed. Normally people don't like to enjoy meditation. So this is good, a good sign that you are qualified to go back home. You have prasad. As David and Christian have arranged prasad for you. Prasad is blessed food. When I am giving you this prasad, I am invoking the blessings of my master, Dhur Maharaj Baba Savan Singh. And it's his thought, his vision, his presence that I put into the prasad. So make it blessed. Now I must clarify, blessed food does not mean it changed the molecular structure of the food. Whatever is being served remains the same. The blessing means when you eat it, you will remember it's blessed. And it's an association of ideas, where it was given and what the association is. And every time you eat, you'll remember this moment. And that is the benefit of a blessed prasad. So prasad is not to be taken in lieu of medicine for curing illnesses, and is not to be taken as a sleeping pill or so on. It has to be taken for remembering this moment and improving the quality of your meditation and developing more love and devotion in you. That's what prasad does. And that is why we call it prasad or blessed food. I have another gift for some of you. If you haven't received before, have you ever received gift from the roof? How many of you ever received gift from the roof? How many of you are still keeping those gifts? Oh, I'm very happy. Okay, my master, Dhur Maharaj Baba Savan Singh in his radiant form, has decided to keep some gifts for you today. They are not physical gifts. They're astral gifts. They are gifts that belong to the category of astral life, and you might call them imaginary gifts. But it's not that imaginary what we think imaginary as unreal. They are imaginary, which when you go in, you'll find they are real. So what we've done is, just as an exercise to make it an interesting event, we are placing those gifts on top of the roof of this Dawson College building, so that you have to go there and get them. And you don't have to go with the physical body because they're not physical gifts. You have to go with your astral body, which means your body of imagination. Can you use your astral body? I'll first test that out. Can you imagine that you are standing next to me here? How many of you can do that? Imagine you are standing next to me. Very good. That's all that you have to do. You have to imagine that you are standing on top of the building. You can go to the building from outside, climb up. You can fly right through the roof. You can do anything through your imagination. But imagine you are on top of this building and standing on the roof and looking on top. If you find a package you know is meant for you, pick it up. If it is packed, open it and see what it contains. You can bring it down, sit back in your chair and open it. It's an imaginary exercise. So let's see what you will get. Close your eyes. Go back to the third eye center, behind the eyes. How many of you are able to find packages? Oh, I'm so happy. How many of you found unexpected things that you never expected to find? Well, that's interesting. These are gifts from my master to you. Just a small token of telling you that it's all real, that this imagination will become reality when you go to the next level. These are not physical gifts, you must have noticed that. And some of them are obviously not physical. And these you keep them, and some you may not understand right now what they mean. And some you know what they mean. Some are beautiful, some are symbolic, and one day things will happen that will tell you what they meant for you. And so you keep them. People who got these gifts years ago are still keeping them and seeing the significance of them. So I'm very happy, congratulate all of them who received the gifts today. For others who did not get a gift today, there will be another time. There's a certain amount of faith, a certain amount of willingness to see this that goes with it, which is obvious in most of these experiences through imagination, because it was an imaginary experience, but not an unreal experience. It was using imagination to access something which you could not imagine if you just wanted to imagine it, because you did not get the gifts that you could have imagined. They were different. And that is one of the signs that this was not unreal imagination. It was use of imagination to draw something from a real one step higher level of consciousness. So I'm very happy.